everything in a game is a tool that the director can use to express a meaning. And cutscenes are one of the tools. So I actually don't think that cutscenes are positive or negative. That just like, but it's like asking, what do you think about sound in a game? Do you think that sound is something that like immerses the player more or less? It really depends on the meaning. Like if the director is doing a game that's about how deaf people experience the world, maybe there's no sound in the game, and that's a positive part of the game because it creates a unique feel. So in my opinion, there should be no politics to cutscenes. That if I'm going to, that I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not going to have cutscenes in this game because of some principle. I don't think that that's effective. That if there's a moment where I need to use a cutscene, I'll use a cutscene. And sometimes it really helps the player's rhythm because the player will go through a really tough gameplay sequence, and there's a moment where you want to like rest for a second. And that's something I learned through my experience in design and in writing and the years I've worked in the game industry, because at the beginning when I first joined, I wanted no cutscenes in a game. And I felt like it was a political thing, and we should fight for that, and it was more immersive. And in fact, when I experienced the whole process of making games, I realized that that kind of extreme position rules out a lot of artistically exciting ideas that could be a part of your game. I know exactly what you mean. I think players should be always treated as adults. For me, the bad children's books are the ones that talk down to children, who'd say, oh, I'm not going to use bad words, or I'm not going to use this idea because kids can't understand it. I always loved Roald Dahl growing up because Roald Dahl just wrote what he wanted to write. And if it was scary, it was scary. If it was offensive, it was offensive. And they were wonderful books that treated me as an adult when I was a kid. And so I think that the same holds true for players, that all players should be treated as adults. You should never treat players as children, and what that means is that the player should be free to explore the world and to come to an understanding of the world on their own. And that doesn't mean that the author doesn't express strong things and strong meanings and ideas. What it means is that the player needs to buy into those ideas, and that the solution is not going, actually you're a child even though you're not a child, and I'm going to tell you everything that I believe and you're going to accept it as fact. That's actually a recipe for the player rejecting everything that you want to tell as an author. So I think it seems like you agree with that position, because I feel a sense of nostalgia for the way that games used to not handhold you, and I would love to return to that. I like them both. Because I think that they're different approaches. Again, it's like cutscenes or no cutscenes. It depends what the director is trying to express. The key thing is that every message in a game should be expressed through action and through what you're doing as the game. And so I think that's the most radical thing that I'm really saying today, because it's not like, I don't think if I enter a game and I'm like, I want to tell a love story, and the game is like about shooting people in the face, then if I try to tell a love story, I'm counter to what the game is about. And so I don't think it will succeed. And so instead of me going, here's what I want to tell, I look at the game, or we create the game and then I look at the game. And it's like, okay, so what do we do? What in this game makes me feel something? What does this gameplay make me feel? And then whatever that is, you can build on. And you can expand into more developed, more complex concepts. And so it's work with what the game is doing, not against what the game is doing. And that's your creative limitation. And so, not the budget, not the cinematics budget, not the special effects budget. Your creative limitation should be, what is the game? No, because the ESRB's limitations are not, for example, I'm going to totally change directions here, but Alfred Hitchcock made a movie called Rebecca. And in Rebecca, there's a scene where the maid in the house who hates the main character of the film. Rebecca used to own the house, Rebecca dies, main character shows up, this maid hates the main character. And the maid may have had a sexual relationship with Rebecca. And Hitchcock originally wanted explicit indications of that sexual relationship. which were banned by the ratings board. So what Hitchcock did is there's a scene where the maid places the woman's night dress, which is see-through, onto the bed and smooths it. And that expressed everything that the ratings board would not allow him to express without them being able to ban it. So whatever limitations there are, it fuels creativity.
Very interesting. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.